Fresh off an official visit, welcome four-star linebacker Nick Abrams to Way Off Sides. 3, 2, let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. We got a special treat for you tonight, bringing in fresh off a visit to Tuscaloosa, four-star linebacker Nick Abrams joining us. Nick, thanks for being in here, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Doing fine. That's great, man. You're the talk of the town lately, not just in Tuscaloosa. Sounds like all over the country, man. Tell me what's been going on with you lately.
I'm just going through these visits, man. Just going through all these official visits, doing my due diligence to all these schools that have spent their time and energy recruiting me. So I'm just excited to get this last one done and then really talk with my family and then decide on July 16th where I'm going to be going to college for the next 3 to 5 years.
I mean, it's gotta feel good because I know this is kind of the culmination of just years of hard work. Um, what you've been to, what Michigan so far, Bama, where is that it?
Michigan, Bama, and Georgia.
Michigan, Bama, and Georgia. So three huge brands, three huge programs. You got Oregon coming up this weekend. I
Yeah.
mean, it's how does it feel, man? Just to kind of be, I don't know. I don't want to say that you're being catered to, but just reaping that reward because I tell people all the time, man, you guys put in so much work to get these moments, and these visits are so big because it's kind of reaping that reward.
Yeah, I definitely say this is definitely sweet, putting on in the hard work and being able to, see all that hard work kind of culminate into kind of your dream coming true. So definitely, but also, you still got to work hard, still got to keep grinding because
Yeah,
even though you're getting recruited by these high level schools, you're just as soon as you step on campus, you're going to be at the bottom of the barrel. So just keeping keep being level headed and being able to grind and be able to be self aware that you're not all that, but you definitely have a chance to be what you want to be.
I like that. You got to stay a little humble, even though it's okay to pat yourself on the back, but stay a little
Yeah.
humble. I like it. So you mentioned, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, Georgia. I mean, not Ohio State, excuse me, Georgia, Alabama. So you've got some SEC schools, you've got some Big Ten schools. Let me ask you this: is there a difference that you see in how the Big Ten recruits you compared to the SEC, or is it all kind of the same across the board?
Yeah, I'd say the Big Ten wants like a bigger linebacker. They
Mhm.
want guys that can handle all the big old linemen,
Sure.
especially in the Big Ten and all that. But SEC they want you a little lighter, especially with running with these fast receivers and backs and tight ends. So but in terms of the recruiting pitches, they're pretty much the same. Those two are two great conferences. The Big Ten's won national championship for the past few years, and the SEC's been dominant since I can remember. So
Yeah.
those two conferences have the prestige that someone like a type recruit would want. So
Yeah.
they kind of recruit in very similar. So
Yeah, it's kind of been the SEC for a very long time, and you had like the Big Ten and Clemson in there, and now all of a sudden, it's been the Big Ten the past couple of years. So, yeah, definitely, in my opinion, the two premier conferences in college football. Let me ask you this: in terms of this recruiting process, you're around a lot of dudes, a lot of superstars. We had Xavier Griffin on not long ago. You're getting to meet a lot of these superstar guys, D1 guys. Has there anything that you've learned through all this about yourself in this recruitment process?
yeah, I definitely say that all these guys are good at what they do. They're great at what they do, or else they wouldn't be at these top schools. I'd say
Sure.
for me, just finding out just how intelligent I am in terms of the football space and how much I love football. Watching other guys and seeing how they carry themselves, and then carrying myself in the way that my parents taught me and stuff like that. So just learning more about myself in terms of the football space and also as a human being. So,
That's
all these guys
good.
are great and just really just watching like who I would like to team up with. So simple stuff like that.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like that you mentioned your parents. I'm happy you got that support system. Just from, look, man, I'm old. I'm 40. Lean on them as long as you can, man. Just trust me on that. I've just been watching some of your film and just, man, you are pretty versatile for a linebacker and for a guy your size. I mean, you're not a small person. You're pretty versatile. You remind me, and I got to put it in Alabama terms because our fan base is Bama. But honestly, man, when you pop off the page, you kind of remind me a little bit of like a Reggie Ragland type dude. And I like that, man, because I like those old school throwbacks. But even with that kind of toughness, this recruiting process, especially the OVs, all kind of crammed together week after week. Does that ever get like burnt out? Do you ever get tired?
I think maybe a little tiring. I'd say, this stretch where I'm going back to back to back weeks of official visits, at the end, it might get I might need a little nap, maybe
Sure.
a 10-hour sleep. But other than that, not really. I think it's exciting when you're talking about football. I think it makes me want to play football even more. It makes me want to put the pads on and get to week one already. So I'm really just football 24/7. So to be honest, I can do this a lot. Probably pretty much every week if I really wanted to. Just not even just because of the school's rolling the red carpet, just being able to talk football with these brilliant minds and brilliant minded coaches and stuff, and really see how I would fit, and really just see the comparisons and see what the plan they have in store for me. So
Yeah, you're obviously very well versed in what you're talking about. You can just hear it in your vernacular, your vocabulary. Now, in terms of football and yourself, what's one area of your game that kind of stands out that you're really, really proud of that maybe fans don't notice?
I'd say for me, just my intelligence. I think that's kind of like what the schools really look at me for. Obviously, I have the physical traits, obviously, run fast, strong, long wingspan, all that stuff. But
Yeah,
just the intelligence, I think Coach Morrell said it best, being able to, have that processing ability that's it's like the top 1% of each linebacker. Being able to have that will take you a long way. So I pride myself in being able to study film and break it down, and be able to read off of the coordinators and their tendencies and stuff like that. I pride myself in that and be able to, see the play before it happens. So I think that's probably the main thing that, you don't really see on the film, but behind the scenes, you know that I know my stuff.
I tell you, man, I think honestly it does. I watched some film on you earlier today, and one specific play I can't remember who you're playing, but you point out the run play, what side of the field it's going to be, and everything before it happens. And of course, you're there immediately after snap to close it down, and it's really, really impressive, man. You're really impressive to watch. I'll tell you, whoever gets you is very, very lucky. You're obviously getting the attention that you deserve. Now, you just came off a visit to Alabama last weekend, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, can you tell us just a little bit about that visit?
Yeah, it was definitely a great visit. It was my second time being down there. So,
Yeah,
I think after my unofficial visit, all the information that I accumulated, I think it was great for me and my family to come back down and see what Tuscaloosa was all about. Just
yeah,
talking with Coach Morrell and Coach Womack, their plan for me, their progression, and all the little ins and outs and little details that Alabama has that every other school does it. Just the whole that they have like 24 GMs on speed dial to know
yeah,
your draft rank, which is like crazy. I never even heard of that. So that, and then the nutrition, and then the training staff and the weight room. I got to try the cryotherapy, which was pretty cool. So,
yeah, yeah.
so Alabama has all these little details that other schools usually don't, and it's impressive to see that. So I'm excited to learn more, especially with Coach Womack and Coach Morrell. They've taken the time to show me their plan and the step by step and the numbers, and crunch it down to where um, I can understand it and really envision myself. Okay, this is this day. I can do this. We're gonna learn this on this day. So certain stuff like that, and then just talking with the players, the brotherhood. Obviously, Alabama, is like a brotherhood. Like I said, just especially during the photo shoot, it's like 40 guys on there, shadow boxing, having a great time, and then
Yeah.
after their due diligence was done, they started hanging out at the facility. So just seeing that they have the culture in place, they have everything that you could want in the school. So it was definitely
Yeah.
a great visit.
Yeah, we noticed, and we kind of talked about this a lot. Alabama using current players during those photo shoots and having a lot of support around you guys when you're on campus. I feel like that's actually having a pretty positive impact. Even if the guys don't commit to Alabama, it's still really cool to see because I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of you just it doesn't matter really where you're going. You're all still very close. You know, you guys are doing camps together. You're going through this recruitment process together. Um, is there something non-football related that you think would help you choose your school? You talked about some of those amenities that football has, but in terms of like the actual school, is there something you're looking for out of Michigan, Oregon, Bama, Georgia that may help you decide down the road when it's time?
Yeah, I think a big thing for me in my recruitment is definitely the academic piece. Trust me, I know that football is going to take almost all of my time, but
Yeah.
it's important for me to have a degree that's going to be able to carry weight in the real world, especially after football. I know I want to major in business and finance, maybe
Nice.
do a major in that. So just knowing that I have the stability in that degree and be able to use that degree to one day become a commercial or realtor. So just stuff
Oh,
like that,
cool. Yeah.
be able to make weight in Wall Street, something like that. So that's a big part of me, and then just the connection piece. Obviously the football connections and the branding deals and all that stuff that's going to come once with your play and then the school you choose. But
Sure.
also in terms of after football, being able to have a head start, especially being having a degree from one of these four schools, having that holds weight. So being able to be put in the right place with the certain people that are in the profession I want to be in. So
That's awesome, man. That's great. More about Alabama, again, Bama show, but off your visit, there's been a lot of talk in the offseason, with the changeover from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer, that Bama's not Bama anymore. And I know that you can't speak to that in terms of playing for Alabama, but just what you've seen, do you feel like the culture is still the same there? What does that culture look like to you based off your visit?
yeah, I think that obviously, Coach DeBoer and Coach Saban are two different coaches. They're gonna have a different, way of going about being personable with the players. But I think, from what I've heard, that Coach DeBoer is more personable. He's gonna have your phone number, talk to you, call you, say what's up in the hallways, all that certain stuff.
Nice.
And I think that Bama is definitely still Bama. Like when you walk in the halls, you see all the standard stuff. Everything's still there. The difference is just a different coach, and he has some new ideas that he wants to implement. But it's still a standard. There's still everyone's held accountable. There's still the same weight room stuff, and Bama is obviously historic and where from Nick Saban. But I think that Coach DeBoer is the right guy to get them to where they want to be and elevate themselves into that program that they were back when Nick Saban was.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, man. So can you tell everybody just when your recruitment date is, or excuse me, your commitment date, when they can kind of be paying attention so that, because I mean, we talk about you all the time in these circles. Everybody's going to want to know when is Nick Abrams committing, and so that they can follow you.
Yeah, so I'll be committing July 16th. I'm deciding whether or not I want to do like a live stream or something like that on the recruitment website, but I'll definitely let the world know when I'm planning to announce that stuff. So
Hey, look, no pressure. I'm just saying, man, you can do it with us. No, I know you probably got to set up with On3 or something. Do your thing, man. But I want to be respectful of your time, Nick. I know you had a call earlier that you're handling some business. You got get ready for your visit this weekend at Oregon. But I just want to say, for myself and all Bama fans, even if you don't, choose Alabama, man, it's been great following your recruitment. We'll definitely be following your career. Looking for you on Sundays in a couple of years. And man, tell everybody, and if there's anything else you need to say, you got any questions for me before we bounce off of here?
just I want to thank everyone for that's been in my journey. That's helped me, shape me to the young man I am. I want to thank my coach, Coach Sule, especially, seeing something in me, and then my trainer, Courtney Green, and then my parents. Thank
Of
you for
course.
everything I've done, and then also Lauren for being my support and my rock, especially during these recruitment times, and being a ear, so I can talk to her about anything and having an unbiased opinion. So
Yeah,
thank
man.
you.
Shout out, Lauren. You know what, Nick, man, thanks for joining us tonight, dude. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Outstanding young man, dude. You don't have to say it, but I'll say it to you. Roll Tide. Best of luck. God bless, brother.
Roll Tide.
There he is. Thanks, Nick. Oh, there you have it, folks. That is Nick Abrams, one of the top linebackers in the 2026 class. Like you said, he'll be committing later on in July. He's got several visits set up. Fantastic young man, very, very well spoken, obviously very intelligent dude. I think I could probably sit with him for hours and listen to him talk football. So thanks for sticking around. Before you go, we're going to have more of these interviews coming up with recruits. So be sure that you're subscribed. Don't miss a thing. There's a lot of movement that's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks in all these recruiting circles. I know that there are a few targets for Alabama that folks are really excited about that have commitment dates coming up. Nick just shared his with you. And so we'll be sure to have all that information as soon as it comes out. Thanks for sticking around. We love each and every one of you. As always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.